Welcome, listeners, to Thru the Sightglass, a podcast that dives deep into the fascinating world of craft beer and celebrates the incredible individuals who shape its vibrant landscape. Join us on a journey where we explore the nuances of this amazing industry and the remarkable people who contribute to its richness and diversity. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Mike from Old Stove Brewing. Thank you for making time for us, friend.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're so excited. We got to do a little bit of tour. We're so excited to check out your other locations as well and dive into everything.
This location is so cool.
I know.
There's a place in Bend called The Snug. It's in a place called The Cellar, and it's literally just like this small, cozy bar.
And this feels like it.
Very much so feels like it.
Feeling like a little snug, especially here in the Pacific Northwest.
For sure. Yeah, this your listeners can't see it, but there's just all this cool vintage beer memorabilia around the room. All these cool hoop pull signs and Genesee Lager, like all these cool classic brands and stuff. They're all lit up. It's cozy. It's a cozy spot.
I also like how everything you sit on is kind of like worn in. It looks like cozy, comfy. It's not just like, oh, I need to sit on this, right? It's like you can really just crash into it.
Yeah, I take a nap on it.
These chairs we got from Triangle. What's it called? There's a brewery that closed down by the stadiums. Pyramid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Triangle Pyramid. You know.
I saw what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Ancient aliens.
Yep, we got these from Pyramid Brewing after they closed. Actually.
Oh, that's cool beer history.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It was like right before we opened this location, and we were scrambling to figure out our seating situation. Our chairs weren't arriving in time, and there's a great store up here in Ballard called Ballard Reuse, where they just recycle old building materials and chairs and furniture and stuff. And they had about 100 of these chairs, and it took me about 12 rides in my Subaru Outback, just loading it up as much as possible to bring these chairs back and forth. You know, it's one of those things where it's like 2 hours until open, and we didn't have our chairs. They're supposed to be delivered.
Oh my God. I'm surprised you didn't have a box truck. That's awesome. Yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome.
No
time. That's the problem. We had a box truck, just no time.
Oh, I see.
You know, the old Subaru came through
12 back and forth rides.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for having us. For our listeners, if you'll give us your name and your role here at Old Stove, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, my name is Mike Mackley. I'm the director of hospitality at Old Stove Brewing Company. I made up the title.
Love it.
I was the general manager at our Pike Place Market location, and then we expanded and opened up the Ship Canal location, and now we have a third location over in Ballard. And so as I came back from paternity leave, and I had 2 locations to manage, and I had a manager running point at both the locations that we had open at the time, it just made sense to change up my title and so now I'm the director of hospitality. I basically oversee all of our restaurant and taproom operations, and anything kind of customer facing, which is fun. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that's not it falls in between the cracks that I try and handle and take care of for us as well.
Yeah, it may not be in your job description, but it is for you to take care of.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty common.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty common.
Gosh. Every time when we ask that question, people are like, everything, janitor, fix-it man.
Yeah.
Totally.
HR.
Toilet mechanic.
Yeah, that's
purchaser.
A lot of people don't realize that if you manage a restaurant, you wear 37 different hats. You really are fix-it, your HR, your accountant, you handle all of it.
All of it. Yeah. Love that so much. Well, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, so just outside of Washington, D.C., about a metro stop or 2 outside of Washington, D.C.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
That's a jump across the pond from here in Washington State.
Big time. One Washington to another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved out here in 2010. I just I needed a change of pace. I'd been coming out to Seattle since I was a kid. My uncle owns a bunch of restaurants out here. His name's Tom Douglas, and he owns several restaurants around downtown Seattle. So I used to come out when I was a kid, and he'd pay me under the table, $5 an hour under the table to come in.
Busboy.
Exactly.
Yeah, bar service, yeah.
They just would stick me back in the prep kitchen, and I just would be back there shucking fava beans or, doing whatever, cutting donuts, kind of whatever it is.
That's kind of cool. It's like a cheap way to make money. It may not have been your favorite job, but that's like a cool kind of like experience to have. Yeah.
Totally. No, I loved every minute of it. And it was great to then go back, when you're 14, 15, and you go back with $600 in your pocket. It feels like, it feels like I'm so rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it like growing up in Maryland?
I loved it. I loved growing up out there. I don't, I have no plans on moving back there. Seattle is home for me now for sure. But it was a great place to grow up. Very eclectic, very diverse. We lived in. I grew up with a single mom. I have 2 older brothers, and
Hey, same here.
oh, yeah, nice. Are you the youngest or?
I'm middle.
He's middle.
Okay.
3
yeah.
brothers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
No, it is. It's it was a great way to grow up. My mom was the best. She worked her butt off to provide for us. But we had a great childhood. It was, we had all these kids on our little block. I lived on my street. There was 2 cul-de-sacs, and there were 3 houses in between the cul-de-sacs. And between those cul-de-sacs and just that, literally half a block, I think there was 13 different families or something like that.
Oh, damn.
And so there
Having
were
the cul-de-sacs,
that's a cool community.
You can hold the kids in.
Oh yeah, totally. So it's kind of one of those things where there's 20 kids and we're all just playing football or soccer or basketball or hide and seek, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody come out to the stoop and just go, "Mike, dinner!"
Everybody.
Oh, that's quintessential.
Totally.
That's so quintessential childhood.
The water hose. Yeah, for sure.
And just in general, it's fun to grow up on the East Coast. There's just so much history, especially in that DC area. And having the metro line there to be able to just jump on the train and go to the Smithsonian. We'd go over to Baltimore. It's everything's a 20-minute drive from DC. So 20, 30 minutes you're in Baltimore, and you get to go see the Orioles. So I remember watching Cal Ripken breaking the all-time games played record and stuff.
Cool.
And
3,000 plus, I think.
Yep,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, consecutive games played. Wow.
Yeah, and then I had my grandparents and a bunch of family lived in Delaware, which is about an hour away. So we'd go there. We'd go to the beach, Ocean City, Maryland stuff. It's 3 hours away, and just kind of classic East Coast ocean town, which is a blast. So I had a great childhood.
I love that.
Yeah.
We got to spend the last 8 months ish
on the East Coast.
Nice.
So we did North Carolina, South Carolina, and then we went up and we were in Maine. The majority of the time.
Yeah, but we did Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts.
Yeah, we got to really experience it. We loved it.
Yeah.
We really did.
Landscape seems very similar, trees, rolling hills. You have some peaks and mountains as well, and then ocean.
Yeah.
But like you said, the history, everything is just so much older there.
So
the architecture,
old.
it was very cool. We really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's a trip. You walk around Boston, and it's
my gosh.
This was built in 1600 or whatever. This person lived here. And you're this is crazy.
It's so wild. Yeah, we definitely enjoy the East Coast. Okay, so growing up there, did you have were you really into any hobbies outside of playing in the neighborhood? Was there something that you did a lot of, or I don't know, played in a band, did sports, something like that?
I was, I did all. I mean, I played sports. I played high school football, track and field. I think I was class president one year too. Admittedly,
nice.
I kind of I did all of it, and then I just used all of it as an excuse to get out of the other thing.
Right.
Sorry, class president. I got to go to football. Sorry, football. I got to go do class president meetings. And I think I just would go smoke pot in the woods or something like that. You know what I mean? I was a delinquent.
You were all this work is stressful. I need a de-stressor.
Totally. Totally. I was I think this would look great on a college resume. And I was wait a second, I have no interest in going to college.
Okay. Gotcha.
Honestly, we always just hung out. We just hung out. I think that was our thing. We'd go.
Nice.
There's a great little mall, Wheaton Plaza, that we'd go wander around at. I just had a great group of friends. All of us came from different places, backgrounds, and stuff.
Fuck yeah.
We all would just wander around and cut up and cause trouble. It's one of the reasons I ended up moving out here. I just was I got to shake something up. I'm up to no good.
Got too notorious.
Totally. Yeah. I still got warrants out. No, not quite like that. But
so you'd been coming out here as a kid,
right?
So what was that decision? What was that timeline of hey, I'm out of school. What do I want to do with my life? What was that like?
Yeah, I graduated 2006, and I kind of spent 2006 I basically immediately got a job. I think I was working busing. Funny enough, again, I think I was getting paid under the table to bus and host and run food at a local neighborhood restaurant. Yeah. So I think I started doing that junior year. I realized I wasn't going pro. I wasn't going pro in football. When you don't show up, you don't play, apparently, you're not going to go pro. So
you had other interests. That's fine.
Yeah, and I liked having money. I liked having money in my pocket. And so I started working at a local restaurant. I graduated high school, and I just realized I loved restaurants. I loved hospitality, and I also had the attention span of a gnat, so it's it's not like I could sit through any more classes or anything like that anyways. And I just love the fast-paced of restaurants. I love the people, the camaraderie. I love like the work hard, play hard element of it
Yeah.
and stuff, you know. And,
I will say that industry does good. I think a lot of people that had ADD or ADHD growing up, because you can do multiple jobs at once that aren't necessarily like super serious, but it's like, okay, I can have 8 things going, and it's like done, 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 done.
Totally.
Yeah, it like helps with that bouncing around.
Yeah.
Not just being in one spot the whole time.
Absolutely. And the flexibility of schedule too, right? I mean, that's the best, is the fact that I can just pick up shifts when I want, or drop shifts, or night shifts, day shifts, or whatever. So yeah, I worked several different restaurants around the DC area, and I think it was 2010, I just decided I needed to shake it up. So I kind of was broke. I didn't really have a whole lot going on, and my uncle reached out and was like, hey, I hope you consider Seattle an option. We'd love to have you out here. And so I flew out here, literally just nothing. I think I had a suitcase, and that was about it, you know, or a shoulder bag. I moved out here, and he was gracious enough, him and my aunt Jackie, to put me up in their basement for a few months, and they gave me a gig at Tom Douglas Restaurants as a handyman, which I just hated. I just hated it. I'm so grateful for it. You know, I got to build one of the restaurants from the ground up, so a lot of like painting. I learned a lot of skills and all that, but I just hated it. I'm a social butterfly. I loved the pageantry of restaurants. I just loved being in front of people and talking with people and making jokes and making people laugh. I was always the class clown in high school, and so you know, that's just kind of my favorite thing. So it didn't take long. I think about 6 months into my living out here, I switched up and I started working at one of our restaurants called Palace Kitchen, which is right downtown, kind of a Seattle institution.
Oh, right.
And I moved into a room. I rented a room in a house in Wallingford, and I think it was like $400 a month or something like that,
yeah.
Which is, you know what I mean?
The good old days
was
of
this
rent.
like 20,000, like 7, 8,
This is
2000.
this is 2010 still. Yes, this is 2010.
Okay, 2010.
$400 a month.
Yeah.
And I met 3 people on Craigslist, and
Back when you weren't getting murdered.
yeah, exactly. When you were getting murdered, you could trade a couch for for an apartment or something.
It's still an honorable system.
Totally. And we all happened to be the same age, and we all got along, and we all worked in restaurants, and so it kind of was an easy transition. And so I worked at Palace Kitchen as a busser and a host, and then I moved over to a restaurant called Sears Pie when we opened that up in South Lake Union, and I was a server over there. And then like about a year and a half in, I kind of got lucky in that. Well, there's this other guy. I probably shouldn't even be telling the story. There's another guy there.
We can always cut it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He was. I liked him just fine, but he was also kind of the worst. You know what I mean? Like one of those coworkers where you're just like. And I think he became a boss, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to let this guy be my boss."
Yeah.
And so I started to jump into the leadership world as like a lead server or whatever. And then a couple things happened where that guy left and the GM left, and the opportunity opened up for me to take over as the general manager. I think I was 23 with no real experience managing a restaurant ever.
Hey, but unlimited energy.
Unlimited energy.
Yeah.
I definitely brought the enthusiasm for sure.
Yeah.
And I had a great mentor, this guy Tony Catini, who's still the executive chef of Sears Pie to this day.
All right, shout out Tony.
Shout
Fuck
out.
yeah.
Yeah, he was great. He was a great mentor. Kind of took me under his wing, and I was terrible for the first year or so, you know. I think I had to get pulled aside by a couple of my assistant managers, and they were like, let us do something.
Yeah.
You're trying to do everything, and you're not doing any of
You're
it
not delegating.
well.
Yeah.
It's a hard lesson to learn, you know.
Yes, delegation is hard.
Yeah, so I did. I finally kind of learned that, and I got my feet under me, and I was the general manager at Sears Pie from 2012 until about 2018.
Oh, wow.
damn.
So like 6 years.
Yeah, a good chunk there. I'm super proud of my team there. We had a lot of great leaders, a lot of just great hospitality. We just learned a lot about how to take care of people, how to take care of guests, how to adapt as well. And then I switched up to go. I took a great leadership course around that time as well, kind of like a CEO boot camp. And it was called Leadership Lab, and it basically was like the people who are next in line to become CEO at a company, and I was so in over my head with it. It ended up like it was like me and like the next CFO of Alaska Airlines and like the director of medicine for Virginia Mason, and and I'm managing a pizza restaurant. Right. But I learned so much. I had such great mentors. This woman Jan Gelman and Terry Sitterman and Stacy Sargent. They just taught me so much about professionalism and leadership and kind of how to carry yourself. And I set this goal of wanting to be the CEO of Tom Douglas Restaurants. And I also learned, I belonged at the table with some of these people who had a lot of different experience and had bigger jobs than I did. But, at the end of the day, it all comes down to people and managing people and learning how to communicate with people. And, we'd be sitting there and we'd be talking about the problems that we'd have. And I'm like, well, did you have this conversation? And they're like, no, I can't do that. I have to go through this process and this and this. And I was like, oh,
because it's different in the restaurant to corporate. I get that.
Totally. But that was a great experience for me, and I used that opportunity to tell the CEO of Tom Douglas Restaurants, this woman Pam Hinckley, who's been a great mentor for me as well, that I wanted her job, which is probably not like the best thing to do. But she was great, and she helped me along the way with coaching, gave me some guidance, and I switched up and I moved to our restaurant called Seatown down in Pike Place Market. And that was kind of my first experience working at Pike Place Market. Actually, second, that was the restaurant I helped build. So I was like painting and started to, I got to see that one go from nails and studs to an actual restaurant. And then I came down to manage it in 2018.
Nice. And I bet it had a kind of a different approach, because it sounds like the first time you were just there as like handyman help, and you were just like, this is a job, whereas this was like a conception that you had intention on. You're like, this is what I want this to be.
Yep, 100%. And coming with, a full head of steam from Sears Pie, where we had been so successful, to go to this restaurant to try and implement things that we had done, which is just, it's so simple now, but at the time, it felt radical to me that we just were using so much data. We just were basically putting all this data into a spreadsheet to figure out how to schedule effectively and how to predict our sales and do forecasting and things along those lines that you're not really taught that as like just a manager in a restaurant. You kind of, or you should, I guess, and maybe you do in like more corporate models, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it took us a little bit to figure it all out. And so,
I think, like you said, it's like a balance. Like your assistant managers were saying, hey, quit doing everything.
Right.
Once you give yourself time, you're able to then look at that info. We say this, obviously we're in the beer industry, like brewers are always notorious for wanting to do everything.
Right.
And it's like the hardest thing to take a step back and say, if I can trust and delegate well, that means I can then look at all of this that, like you said, longer future forecasting is like super beneficial. Otherwise, we're just gathering data and then never using it. We just put it in a bag and set it down.
Right.
Yeah. And unless you've taken like management courses, or there's there's so many different ways to manage. There's so many different ways, like using data, going off of like emotional intelligence, working with people, and then people skills and community. Like there's so many different ways to manage a restaurant. Like you have to take your own approach. So it's like, if you didn't know, you didn't know, but like you learned, and you can like pull from different experiences, which is always great.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, and I think, different people have different strengths and different weaknesses and different muscles that they just need to develop and build up. And so, I'm grateful. I feel like I being called out, I learned that I'm okay with not being the best at everything, I guess. You know what I mean?
But know who to call. Right. Or who to ask help for.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally. Right. Yes. And it's not necessarily about knowing everything or being the best. Sometimes it's about surrounding yourself with complementary pieces to achieve the best skill set overall, right?
There's just, I like that.
You know what I mean? I'm never going to be the best at everything, but if I can be the best at finding other people who are the best at things, and I can let them
help them
totally use their strengths. Yeah, I think it's all about finding complementary skill sets and putting a team together that way. So that was a great lesson I learned at Sears Pie that I was able to take down to Seatown.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so Seatown, that opened up, it sounds like 2018, if this timeline.
Well, that's where you went in 2018.
Right. It opened in 2010.
I see. Gotcha.
It opened in 2010, and it unfortunately, COVID rolled around in 2020, and it shut down along with everything else in the world for a little bit. But it kind of, was a little bit of a blessing for me. I learned so much at Sears Pie, and then I learned even more transitioning to taking over a team and inheriting a team that I didn't know. And then COVID rolled around, and I took about a month off, and I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate in that, like, I had taken all the partial kegs that we had home, from C-Town when we shut down, and I had a kegerator, and I just hooked them up, and I took about a month off to just drink beer every day. And
I think everybody did. When I got let go from Freem, I think I went and got a half barrel Pilsner and a bunch of low fills, and I was like, guys, we're set.
Totally. It's like, I'm not leaving the house for the next 6 months.
Tiger King got watched.
Oh my gosh.
100%. And unfortunately, my wife, so my wife's a chef, and she was the pastry chef and sous chef at a restaurant called Sawyer, which was like a hot restaurant that had opened up 2018 or something. And they were like, I don't know how they did it. They basically had a new menu every day, and they just were doing takeout pop-ups all through that first month and a half of COVID. So she was working these long 12, 13-hour days, and I'd be at home, I'd wake up it's 10 a.m., time to crack the pills, or time to, just go exercise the dogs and enjoy myself. I'd deep clean the house and, play some video games.
Yeah. It's a trade-off.
It was just a weird time.
Totally.
Just weird time. It was like airport time, nothing, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't,
that's a good way to put it, airport time.
Everyone was just doing their thing to make it to the next,
right.
It didn't matter.
Well, and we also didn't know what the timeline was going to be, right?
Yeah.
We all thought it was all right, well, this is the next 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks. And lo and behold, it's the next 2 years.
Yeah. 3 months later, we were like, okay, we'd like a for sure answer.
Right.
And the answer was just we don't know. Stay indoors. And it's like, well.
So at this point in time, obviously you've been drinking beer.
Right.
Did you grow up around beer? Did your family, whenever you were on the East Coast or West Coast, was there beer around, or what was some of your introduction into the beer world?
Yeah, I think I got to shout out my mom. My mom was she loved beer. She loved craft beer. She was always drinking Sierra Nevada or Dogfish Head, or there was this pub called the Royal Mile Pub that we used to go to once or twice a week. And it was kind of in between. She was a nurse. She worked at a hospital called Holy Cross Hospital. And it was like a halfway point. If I could walk there, it'd be maybe a 20, 30-minute walk. And I'd meet her there. Or my brothers and I would walk there. We'd meet her there, and we would have dinner. And they had the best fish and chips. It's beer batter fish and chips.
Awesome. Royal Mile Pub?
Royal Mile Pub. Yeah, I think it's since closed, but we would go and get fish and chips, and she would always drink a Tetley's. That was her favorite. It was a cask, British-style cask Tetley's. And then if it wasn't that, we'd go to a different pub or pizzeria or something like that.
Yeah, there's no shortage of cask on the East Coast, too.
Totally.
Which is just brilliant.
Yeah.
So you kind of grew up around good craft beer.
Totally.
Yeah, and also bar life, too, which is super special.
Yeah, and the nice thing, in Maryland too, you can sit up at the bar as a kid. Actually,
that's a minor.
And not that we were at the bar, but I don't want to paint that picture or anything. But my mom was rad, and she loved food. She loved to cook. She loved to eat, and I'm so grateful for it. Because I ended up developing a passion for food and restaurants and all that stuff from it. But then I think I discovered my love for craft beer. Again, kind of through being a delinquent. I don't condone this, but at the time, there was a liquor store. All of liquor and beer was sold. I think it was all county owned or something like that. So I could go there, and as long as I bought craft beer, I didn't get ID'd. I think there just was an assumption this.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. This guy, he just grabbed the Dogfish Head.
This weird adult.
Yeah. But if I showed up with a 30 rack of Rolling Rock or something like that,
they'd
or
be
Natty
Boh.
Party.
Yeah,
totally. They'd be ID, please.
Yeah.
But you get a 6-pack of Dogfish Head, 60-minute, and nobody cares. So. I think that's where I kind of ended up discovering a love for craft beer. Actually,
okay. Was there one in particular?
60-minute IPA from Dogfish Head was my jam for sure.
Yeah.
Are they in Massachusetts or Delaware?
They're Delaware.
Delaware.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Milton, Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was probably my favorite when I was younger. And then there was also I worked at a place that was next to this great Irish pub, and I'd go with all these older servers. And again, like as long as I ordered in between those guys, I didn't necessarily get carded. I don't condone this. I will check your ID if you come to my brewery.
Yes.
Exactly. Very vigilant about this for sure. But I would order a Smithwick's and a shot of Jameson.
Okay.
And that was another one where I felt like because I said Smithwick's and I didn't say Smithwick's, I didn't get carded because it kind of seemed like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I think that just confidence in craft beer and like being able to talk about it. Not that Smithwick's is necessarily craft beer, but it's definitely like it's not a mass-produced corn lager or whatever. So
it's one of those beers where if you are into drinking, and especially those styles, that's a beer that you're like, oh, I want a Smithwick's.
Totally.
You're like, absolutely.
Yeah.
The most common thing is probably people go in there and they either get like a Guinness or like a Newcastle Brown. But it's like if you know what Smithwick's is, people are like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
totally.
No, for sure. So East Coast, you have some like good craft beer experiences being introduced. You have kind of your go-tos. Coming out to the West Coast, what was that like? Because I mean, it's completely different. Not completely different, but there's like a whole new world.
Yeah,
but seriously,
the hop assault was probably
what was
so
that like?
intense.
Yeah, that was so my brother Tommy had moved out here before me, and he lived in Fremont, and so when I moved out here, he was great. He was a great influence, and he loved craft beer. He even did some homebrewing himself. But we used to go to the old Rubens before they blew up.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
pretzels and drink some Rubens. We would go to actually, funny enough, I have all these photos of us hanging out at the old Hilliard space, which then became Lagunitas, which is now Old Stove Ballard.
That's wild.
And we were drinking cans of Hilliard's Chrome Satan and stuff. And, at the time,
that's a trip,
right? Yeah. And I didn't feel like it was quite as big. Schooner Exact and Three Beers. We drink a lot of Maritime.
Diamond Knot.
Yeah, totally. Some of those kind of like OGs, Hales. And then we had that second craft explosion or third or whatever timeline it was. And then, Stoop came around, and I just remember being so proud. I was running the beer. I was the general manager at Sears Pie, pizza and beer, classic combo. And
what timeline is this? Is this like 2015?
So this is like this is probably 2012, 2013
Okay,
or so.
2012, 2013.
I was running Sears Pie and pizza and beer, classic combo, and I was so proud. We had like 4 taps, and I just was so proud to get exactly what I wanted.
The beer you had on tap,
And I was
sorry, I only asked the timeline because I'm thinking that's when I was really into craft beer, so I can vividly remember a bunch of breweries that really were pushing. I remember Urban Family had their Limesicle, which was a lactose IPA, and that was just so crazy to have something like Starburst Creamy but was hoppy.
Totally.
It's just wild for me to be in Washington during that time because I feel like so much happened in those few formative years, and craft beer on the West Coast outside of California took a whole new direction, which is so wild.
It was I think it was overwhelming, but it felt new, so I think it was overwhelming, but it was just there's nothing you can miss. Or if you found even if you found a bad beer by a brewery, you still were interested to try their 7-8 other offerings.
Oh yeah. Totally. One of my favorites at that kind of around that time was Almanac out of San Francisco.
Yes,
and
sours.
Oh, totally. But I feel like maybe this isn't. I made this story up, but in my mind, they started off without sours, right? They had to sell beer in order to build up their sour program. So they had a bunch of stuff that had to sit in barrels for a couple of years before it was ready to unveil.
Yeah.
And so their core set of beers, they had a pale, they had a saison that was really lovely, a dry hop saison. But all those beers were so good, and I was so into it. And then they just pulled them, they just yanked them
to do the sours,
right? Because that was what their passion was, and that's what they wanted to do. And I always think that's such a cool thing too. That they made great core beer, I guess, but then this was the long game all along as well. I guess.
That's so wild. And that's so cool that you're able to be in a place passionate about being in a restaurant, and then being able to couple that with the craft beer, especially in Washington at that time, especially in Seattle. I'm sure that you had just the best time.
Figuring out great memories, especially when you're proud of what's you're stoked to tell what's on tap.
Yeah.
I think we live in a beer culture now where, and it's understandable,
There's so much.
There's a lot of good quality beer, and it's hard to get people passionate to tell the story behind the beer.
Right.
Because there are other aspects of like atmosphere, what's going on in the space, what do you offer besides alcohol, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like we're missing people that are just like excited to explain like what a Belgian wit is and like why they're so jazzed about it.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot in our team trainings and stuff. But one of the things I feel very passionately about is like there's so much intrinsic value that's going on in this glass,
It's
right?
wild.
That we don't really think about.
No,
like,
yeah.
Right. Somebody not only did like somebody crossbreed these hops and these grains or whatever,
right.
but somebody planted them, they grew them, they harvested them, they packed them,
yes,
right? They roasted them, they shipped them.
Yeah,
we like chose which ones we wanted.
Right, and then it's a whole. That's why we are doing the podcast, because it's so. We've done a few other things besides just breweries. We've been able to do a malt house, Blue Ox in Maine. And we want to do more with like. Hops out here as well, and some malt houses, but like he got to take a turn on the floor doing the like floor malting, which is not a big thing. We got to see their roaster, cool. And so it is. And we were talking with them about like they go to their farmers to like talk about what they're growing to then bring in and then malt. Like it is, you're just drinking a beer,
right.
But you're not. Like, if you think about the process of every single ingredient that got to that brewery, that's a whole, like, 1 to 2 years before it gets to that brewery sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's what's wild, that planning to then, like, be at the brewery, and then that brewer, their experience from all the other places they've been to then come to then make a beer to then... Like, it's just wild to me.
Totally.
People are like, I'm just going for a beer. And they're like, why is craft beer so expensive? I'm like, it's not. It's not. If you think about the man hours and woman hours that go into making that one beer.
Totally.
And that's not even to account for the glassware, the building, it's just wild to me.
Yeah.
People are like, it's just a beer. I'm like, it's not.
Right.
It's not just a beer.
No. I think what was cool about the culture, and still is, but people that get excited about, hey, this one place has this on, that's why we're going. Do you have any memories of that while at Serious Pie? Because obviously you cared a fuck ton about what you had on tap and were able to share it with people. Did you feel like that you were like a hub and a spot to go to?
We weren't initially, but then we remodeled the building, I want to say like 2014, 2015, and we built out a whole new bar downstairs.
Gotcha.
And that we had 32 taps plus this giant walk-in. I think we had 105 bottles and cans.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that's
damn.
amazing.
Yeah, and we had this, there was a woman who worked for Tom Douglas at the time. Her name was Kaylee. I'm blanking on what her last name was, but she was like she had her Cicerone certification before I even knew what
Cicerone existed.
Yeah, totally. What the fuck that was, and unfortunately, or fortunately for her, she got poached to go open up the Holy Mountain Tap Room on Inner Bay when they first opened. But she had taken the job with us at Sears Pie, and then I think she heard back from them that they had gotten the job, and so she was there with us for about a month, and she had also, I want to say she was over at Brave Horse Tavern too, which was one of our other concepts that was very beer focused. But I was like, all right, well, hey, I have you here. Let
me seep knowledge from you, please.
Totally. You have forgotten more about beer than I'll ever hope to know. And so her sole job was basically curating a draft list and a tap list and educating the team on all the stuff and leading tastings. And she did a great job. And then I inherited the program from her. And we just had so much cool stuff. There was all this like Lost Abbey stuff that she had brought in, this like beautiful I still, if I see it, I buy it immediately. Panil Divina, this like wild saison from Italy that's fermented under a full moon, or
oh, awesome.
And then we had everything from that to Coors Banquet stubbies and stuff. Like just the full spectrum. I listened to this podcast about this coffee. I don't remember. I can't remember the guy's name, but he owned a coffee shop in Portland, and he ended the conversation that he was excited to go back to his his hotel room, to drink a Keurig coffee pod or whatever. And they were like, what? Like, you just spent the last hour talking to us about all these esoteric, like, Ethiopian beans and stuff. And he was like, I know, but I'm a coffee professional, and I want to drink the full spectrum. I want to try the worst coffee, and I want to try the best coffee, and I want to know where things
We call them
land.
palate cleansers, too. So it's like you're having all these really unique things, but sometimes you just want a beer.
Right.
You're like, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
I just want to know that it's good.
Totally.
And enjoy it.
Absolutely.
I'm thankful that they can do this. I'm also thankful, so the spectrum.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just to know what is delicious and what is not delicious. And so yeah, we had some cool stuff on there. And then, of course, like all the Pliny stuff, going to Browers and Fremont was the move. And anybody that had Pliny the Younger or any of the Russian.
Yeah, like
Russian
Zwans a day. Yeah.
And then they pulled all that stuff from the market. And, it kind of forced, I feel like, a lot of Washington brewers to innovate and step their game up and start making some of that stuff. Yeah. And now, it's funny, all that stuff's come back on the market, and it's delicious. All that stuff is still killer. The Russian River still can brew no wrong. But I think a lot of our breweries up here in Washington fuck just as hard. You know what I mean? Like, we are doing, there's a lot of great breweries up here that are doing all sorts of cool stuff.
So much good stuff.
Like, I can get an amazing West Coast IPA at like, any brewery right now. Everybody's just doing incredible stuff. And I love how collaborative, the industry is. Everybody's working with each other and sharing recipes and things along those lines and stuff.
We do enjoy being back in Washington. For like the camaraderie of like the beer scene and like what people are doing, and people are excited that people are still enjoying craft beer here in Washington and like surrounding areas for sure. So it's really cool to be back and like hear what everyone is doing and how they're doing it.
I think it's always interesting to see that when craft beer was really popular and at its height, I feel like there was a lot of like collaboration. We talk about this a lot, but then it was like collaboration turned into competition, and then people didn't want to collaborate or be as helpful as much. And now, like, when things are stressful, people say the craft beer market is down, which technically it is, but it's just in different ways. It's not as bad, the doom and gloom that I think a lot of people think it is. But like once things like COVID and now where craft beer is at in its present state, I feel like as this like negative connotation is on it, it's almost like people like shake their head and like, wait, we were just competing against each other. Oh wait, no, we're friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's like reignited this thing that we all got into it for a reason.
Community.
Right.
It goes through. So yeah, I find that like super interesting and also optimistic. Like it makes me happy because we saw that when we were out in the East Coast. I feel like the East Coast is like 5 years behind what's happening over here.
Sure.
And so like everything is burgeoning, but everybody's still very
I hope they don't go through the like competition part. I feel like I just want I just want them to like stay perfect.
Yeah. Or maybe the reason
great.
why they don't do that is they've been brewing beer longer than we have on the West Coast. So they're like, we don't need to keep doing that.
Enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the restaurant.
Yeah.
You're in Pike's Place. How do you get to Old Stove?
So I had my month off of just martini breakfasts and all that stuff. And one of my former assistant managers, she reached out to me and sent me a job posting for Old Stove Brewing Company. It was hiring a GM. So that was, March, everything shut down. April was just a blur of beer and Call of Duty and cooking dinner for my wife every night.
Yeah.
And then April rolled around, May rolled around, and I interviewed with the people over at Old Stove. So Brian Stan, who's co-founder of Old Stove Brewing Company, and he's kind of like the de facto CEO, CFO. He runs daily operations for the wholesale group and for the brewing team, and he handles all of our accounting and all that stuff. And so they were hiring for a general manager. I met with him. Fortunately, he was a fan of the Tom Douglas brand, and I think he saw the experience I had at Tom Douglas and was like, all right, let's get this guy in. Let's figure this out. And I interviewed with them, and they were great. They just seemed like good people, just nice people. The space is incredible. It's like
it's very cool.
Like that view looking out at the mountains and the sound.
Very picturesque.
Oh, totally. So everything kind of came together. I love beer. They were great. We vibed. One of their big rules was just don't be an asshole. Is at the end of the day.
That's a solid rule.
And they also, they had aspirations. I was pretty clear, right? I wanted to be the CEO of Tom Douglas. Now I wanted to be the the CEO of Old Stowe Brewing Company, and so I was pretty clear about what my goals were, and they were looking to continue to expand as well, and to open up a second location, and so it kind of all of it just ended up aligning correctly and worked out really well. And as you can imagine, I mean, I basically inherited an entire team that I didn't get to meet for 6 months or so, 7 months.
Wow, that's gonna be tough.
It was a little, for sure. I've always been I'm a culture manager for sure. Like, I'm not the best X's and O's guy. I'm a motivator. To quote Jackie, what's his name? Will Ferrell's character from Semi-Pro. I'm a motivator in the classic sense of the word. I've always kind of been like, let me take care of my team. Let me set a positive culture. I'm going to show up. I'm going to outwork everybody, so that if I ask you to do something, it's because I have 10 other things I'm doing and all that stuff. So I just tried to be transparent. I sent out messages to them, on the scheduling app every week, just, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we're doing right now. Can't wait to meet y'all. Here's my expectations. Here's my goals. Here's what we're going to do when we all get back. And, we had just a couple of managers that we had kept around because we were just doing counter service there. While we waited for things to reopen, and then we navigated the reopening. We brought back a bunch of people, had to hire some new people, and navigate, the 6 feet apart and tables and all that, which was tricky, but we did it and we got through it. And that was definitely the hardest. That was the hardest time in my career in the restaurant industry for sure. Is that like 2020 into 2022, 2023 or so. It was just impossible to hire anybody. For a little while, the people that were out were just like, they're like, oh yeah, can you believe it? We just got a cheap flight up here from Florida. I was like, yeah, I know. Well, it's because it's COVID. It's a thing right now. And so it just was tough. Everybody was terrified. Nobody really knew what was going on, how sick people were going to get. It was brutal. It was brutal for a little bit, but we got through it and we kind of kept our heads up. And 2023 rolled around, and we ended up being able to expand our patio and add a couple extra tables right out there on that waterfront walkway. That was huge for us. And then 2024 rolled around, and it was like, oh shit, we are booming right now. We are really busy, and things are kind of clicking and firing for us. And then, this year as well, we're just kind of continuing to thrive and excel. And my crew is kicking ass. I got an amazing team from the top down. Everybody just works super hard, and they all love it there. They just love the culture. They love the vibe.
It's such a cool place to be over in Pike's Place. And like Ballard, and then here too, like we were talking about earlier, you feel like this spot specifically is also being able to like boom and do things like all the event space that you have, because you don't have any event space there or in Ballard, I'm sure. So like it's nice to have some event space here. We've definitely learned a bunch of lessons as we've expanded. We're probably the most visited brewery in Washington, just by virtue of being in Pike Place Market. But that means 98% of our clientele are tourists, right? Most Pacific Northwesterners don't want to go to Pike Place Market. We go like twice a year. We're like, we want to go because there's a few things we like. We like it, but like we don't want to go all the time. And it's it's the best when working in Pike Place Market as well. Parking is terrible, but like being able just to walk through such an iconic market and all the history, and there's such a great community in the market. All the vendors offer like discounts to each other, and they come in and support each other. There's also a lot of great social services that come with being in the market as well that I think people don't really recognize. I'm on the board of directors for the Pike Place Market Food Bank and Senior Center, which is the largest food bank in downtown Seattle. We have there's just a ton of cool social services for people where you can go and get help and get assistance and all that stuff. That is such a huge part of Pike Place Market that we didn't even think about for the commerce. But I love being there. We kind of have had to learn a little bit not to be complacent, I think, with opening up to other joints, because that location is busy and just has built-in business from Pike Place Market and the waterfront and all that stuff. When we opened up outside and opened up the Ship Canal location, we were like, we're just going to be so busy. We're already busy over there. We're going to be really busy over here. And it did not happen like that at all. And so we did have to learn how to be scrappy marketers and to not just rest on our laurels of like, well, because we're busy over here, we're going to be busy over here. The amount of people
people I talk to where I'm like, oh yeah, I work at Old Stove Brewing, and they're like, what? Where?
Yeah.
What's that? And now we've made a big dent into that, I think, with
Yeah.
opening up these 2 neighborhood locations.
Right.
And we're very event driven. We had to kind of look ourselves in the mirror and go, like, we're not a brewery at these locations. We're an event space that sells beer. And we are busy when we have things on the calendar. And so
Right.
we do, trivia on Wednesday nights, which are our busiest night of the week for us over here.
Nice.
We do.
People love trivia here.
Oh, yeah. Dude, they
I've
show
known.
up.
It's
in
wild.
droves.
I love it.
Yeah, we do art shows, night markets. If you got 60 people and you want to come in tonight, come
Yeah,
on
we
in,
got
no
space.
problem. We
Yeah.
got space.
Yeah.
At Pike Place Market, it's like I have to quote these insane food and beverage minimums, and then over here, I'm just like, I
Come
could
on
do.
in. Whatever.
Right, I could get you. Come on
Yeah.
in. We'd love to have you. I'll
Yeah.
save some tables for you.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of great. Community. I think is something we've talked about a couple times here. But community, to me, that is what restaurants are. Right, they're community hubs. It's a place for people to come and eat and drink, have a good time, and then breweries, especially, are like an even bigger continuation of that
Right.
community piece because it is where your softball team shows up, or where like there's all these family hubs and parties.
Right.
And I think the most events, or the most popular event that we host here, are like toddler birthday parties, which is
Yeah.
so
Heck yeah.
funny,
Yeah. For sure.
So we try and do a lot of cool other community events as well. We do like dog adoption events here that
Yeah.
are really popular. So we've been able to raise a ton of money for Dog on Seattle, for our
Nice.
Barks and Brews. At our Gardens location, the Ballard location, we do Give in the Gardens. So every Tuesday night, we have a nonprofit come in and we donate a percentage of sales to them.
Oh, very cool.
Like I said, I grew up in D.C., so we just did a big chili dog night a couple
fuck
Fridays
yeah.
ago, which is
Hell
killer.
yeah.
Sign me up.
Right? One of the there's an iconic restaurant in DC called Ben's Chili Bowl,
Okay.
and it's this amazing black-owned business that opened up in 1952 or something like that,
Right.
1951. Just a great staple through the civil rights era, and like all the sitting presidents go and have a chili dog there. That's like a photo op and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And so, obviously, there's a lot going on in the DC area
Yeah.
right now. And so we partnered up with a couple of businesses around here who, Ben's Bread, where my wife's the pastry chef at, Rachel's Bagels, and Saint Bread. All of us have spent some time in the DC area, and so we just last minute, literally like 3 or 4 days, we threw this chili dog pop-up event.
Love it.
In honor of Ben's Chili Bowl, and we raised almost $3,000 for Miriam's Kitchen, which is a great nonprofit.
Oh,
in DC,
amazing.
Cool food bank, and
Yeah.
so we just, I don't know, I love that aspect of it as well. Like we
Really
do-
bringing back to the community.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you have to. You have to give back. You have to give back. You have to. It's either time or money. I don't have a whole lot of money, so I can try and give back time when I can. But I don't mind giving back my company's money as much as I
Right,
can.
right,
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that also earns you a lot of favor around the community as well. Like when people see that you show up for them and you show up for the community and for the marginalized communities and stuff, people love that, and they want to
Yeah.
come and they want to
Yeah.
support
They
you.
want to drink. They love drinking for a cause.
Totally.
We say
Yeah.
that all the time. People love drinking for a cause.
Well, it's feeding your own ecosystem too.
Totally.
I mean, I think you have all these big corporations. You have Amazon and stuff where it's so easy to get something cheap and it's so not personal. But then it's around your local neighborhood. It's like, what do you actually support? And it's kind of like putting where your money where your mouth is.
Yep.
And this is something that like I've learned through doing sales is that you can go in and do a sales pitch for selling the top quality beer. But sometimes the key to opening that door to getting your beer in there is actually showing up as a customer and treating it like as a customer. And that
Totally.
was, for me, I'd never really thought about that. I'm so used to being a regular and just being a brewer and drinking places that I was like, oh, I can see why now when you see me showing up, but I'm just trying to sell you every time, but I'm not in here drinking or eating, why that's like, oh, okay. And it's super important. And that's a side of the coin I never would have experienced without doing this. But it is. You have to feed into your local ecosystem
Yep.
because those people are what are going to support you through COVID. I mean, like, literally, it didn't come from, we had some government assistance, but it was communities keeping their communities alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Totally.
I want to hear more about Old Stove. How in the world did Old Stove get started?
Sure.
When? Who? What did they love? Why is it called Old Stove? I want to hear a little bit more backstory on Old Stove.
Yeah, so Old
And
Stove.
Pike Place. How did they get to Pike Place? That's amazing.
Yeah, so the owner of Old Stove, we're a single owner operation. Guy's name is Chris Moore. He is from a little town called Vicksburg, Michigan, which is about an hour south of Kalamazoo, 45 minutes to an hour south of Kalamazoo. And he grew up, so Kalamazoo, that's where they manufactured all these really cool vintage parlor stoves, which, we have one in the corner.
Yeah.
That's our logo. That's our mascot, basically, is the stove. And so
They're beautiful.
they are. They're so beautiful, and we kind of we love the idea of American craftsmanship and just craftsmanship in general. I guess, right? Craft beer, all the intricacies that go into that, and so it kind of was a natural fit, that American parlor stove to be our icon. We also have always kind of felt like. Chris tells the story about how he was in the country of Georgia, and he was at this little tavern, this little restaurant, and there was this older woman who was just sitting by a stove, and all throughout the time they were having a couple of drinks, having a couple of beers, like 12 different people stopped by. They had a glass of wine, they chatted with her, they had a quick bite, and they left. And I think it kind of was this epiphany for him that across time and civilizations, we've all gathered around the stove in the kitchen, right, to cook and to eat and to drink, get warm, exactly. And so it kind of has become a great symbol for us. So our mantra, our kind of boiled down mission statement that we try and say is cold beer and warm hospitality.
I love that.
That's what we try and preach. But it started off just a couple of scribbles on a napkins with ideas. So Chris Moore owns a tech company called Concord Technologies, which is based here in Seattle, and their headquarters is right on First Avenue. It's always been important for him, which is probably why it trickles down, to be in downtown Seattle and to be in Seattle and be in the market and to be, a fixture and in the local community, right? So he and Brian Stan worked together at Concord. I think Brian Stan was his CFO over there. They loved craft beer. Chris Moore worked at a craft brewery, grew up drinking all these iconic, craft beers and macro beers. And Brian also had worked at a brewery as well. So they put their heads together and came up with the idea to start up a brewery. And they wanted it to be in Pike Place Market. They wanted to represent downtown and such an iconic symbol. So they opened in, I believe, 2016, 2017. On First Avenue in kind of a temporary location. Now it's called the Tap Room at Pike Place, and it's owned by somebody else. But that was the original location, and they were brewing on a little 5-barrel system in Post Alley there. And it was, kind of our thing is we always do it the hard way. And maybe that's just like craft beer in general or whatever.
Beer.
But
that is 100% craft beer.
We always do it the hard way. So everything had to be schlepped up and down and this and that. But we opened there while they were building out the new Market-Front Pavilion. And we fortunately won the bid to go into that Market-Front Pavilion as the anchor tenant of that space. There was another restaurant that was supposed to be in there, and I believe they backed out for whatever reason. This is, again, this is kind of before my time. So we were able to build it out. Originally, it just was a small tap room that was going to be in Pike Place Market in that location, but that restaurant backed out, and we were able to get the entire space.
Because it's a huge space.
Huge space, yeah. And it's it's kind of one of those funny things. Like there's two different governing bodies in Pike Place Market. There's the Market Historical Society, and then there's the PDA. So the PDA is like the government-funded company that manages the tenants, the whole Pike Place Market, and the Market Historical Society is this basically board that is meant to enforce all of the rules from back in the 1970s that are important. It makes Pike Place Market unique. You can't.
What it is.
Right. You can't open up. There will never be a McDonald's in Pike Place Market. You have to adhere to all these different rules. So you can only have one location. It has to be your first location. You can have multiple locations after you open up in Pike Place Market, but it has to be your first location, your flagship store there. There's only a certain amount of square footage you're supposed to have, and there's a lot of rules that are in place. And fortunately, I think we made the bid to get that entire space, and we built out a great kitchen. So we opened 2018. Had lines out the door, as you can imagine,
Yeah.
2019, and then it all came to a screeching halt 2020.
Yeah.
And then we've kind of been scrappy and built it back up, and now they just did a wonderful job with that whole waterfront. I don't know if you've walked.
We
up
haven't
and
been back.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's been over a year.
It's been over a year since, because when we first started the podcast, we did the San Juan Brewery
Cool.
podcast, and so we stopped through on our way. Again, just like our biannual trek out to the Pike Place Market. But we were
Nice.
like, let's go have a beer. We did, and it was great. We had a great time.
Awesome.
Took some beer to go. And so we were talking about it. We're like, man, that was the last time we were there, and we've already done. Y'all are our 58th brewery that we've done. I'm like, we've done
Wow,
like
congratulations.
San Juan was like around 10 probably was when. So last time we were there, and we've done all these. I'm like, we gotta go back.
Yeah. It's remarkable. I
Yeah.
mean, they really did a beautiful job. There's all these great native plants all along there, native trees
nice.
and stuff. There's plenty of areas to sit. You have this beautiful view looking out at the mountains and the sound and the stadiums and the Ferris wheel, and it goes right to the aquarium. The aquarium just
Oh,
launched
nice.
a great new wing.
Oh, very cool.
We just are working on a partnership with them. The collab hasn't dropped yet, but
Okay.
Gotcha.
we're going to drop a beer in collaboration with them and donate
Very
a
cool.
percentage of the sales to the ocean conservation and to the aquarium.
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, fuck yeah. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm excited for it. But they did a really wonderful job, and it's an incredible place to go and drink beer. So
Yeah, that's so. I mean, I think just like, obviously, like coming from not the West Coast and like having a tech company, finding something that's like very much iconic of like a stove, like the old stove. Like I love the tagline of cold beer, warm hospitality. Like I feel like that is quintessential for craft beer. Like everyone just wants to serve some cold beer and have a good time in their space. And so
Yeah.
I think that's just like so quintessential, and I love that, especially so iconic in the Pike Place Market. Like it's wild, amazing. Like we love that place. I think it's places that people want to go, but I love that it's not only, I know that's probably like more touristy, but I love that y'all have been able to go then spread out to actual like where people from Seattle and surrounding areas want to go, those neighborhoods want to go and spend time. Like I think it's cool that y'all been able to expand out and be more a part of the community in that way.
Yeah, and I love. I love it when people come to Old Stove and Pike Place and, they go, oh, I thought this was going to be a tourist trap, but the food was delicious and the beer was killer and the hospitality, the service was amazing, Or when people go like, yeah, the view is great, but the beer, that always gets me excited.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good job on your product and good job on your team.
Yeah.
When we were there, it was slammed, and they handled it so easily.
They did so good.
They
They
were
like held our
"No
beer
worries."
back behind, because we got it to go and we weren't finished, and so they kept it behind the bar.
Yeah,
and then,
I think the bar was full, and we were like, we just want to get a pint and some beer to go. And the guy like served us. We just stood behind the stools, and he was like, "I'll get you if you're just doing one and done." And I was like, "This is great."
It was great.
Nice.
Yeah, people
It was
don't
really
understand.
nice.
Yeah. No, it's. I'm super proud of it over there. We're very thoughtful. I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about beer, and craft beer is in a funny way is kind of like the original farm to table, right? Like it's what is I'm going to butcher it, but the Reichengeissenboot or whatever it is.
The Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah, but
I knew
fucking
he would know it.
Nailed it. Right, the German purity law.
Yeah.
Like in a funny way, craft beer is so technical, and they care
Yes.
so much about where all these ingredients come from in order to get into the glass. Like we were talking about that intrinsic value, and we think the same way about everything that goes on our plates. So everything is line caught fish. It's all beef from Moses Lake. It's all grass fed. It's like local oysters.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Oysters. Oh, gosh.
And we also, we support all smaller distributors and vendors and stuff. I want to make sure that the delivery driver has health insurance, right? Like things like
Yeah.
that are important to me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that attracted me to Old Stove was that it was very apparent that they love their team and they take care of their team. It's like
Yeah.
the number one thing is the team, taking care of the team, and the number two thing is the brand and like representing the brand and having cool marketing and things along those lines, right?
Yeah.
But the team always comes first.
That's awesome. A lot of people do it the other way around. They do like the brand and what people see versus like what the inside is actually taken care of and looks like. That's smart. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
You got to invest in your team for sure. And it's like we were talking about earlier. Like I'm a motivator and I'm a culture manager first and foremost. And I think, if you have a just cause, right, and you get the team to buy into it and to rally around, and you have buy-in, and you have like this stove has become such an icon for us, where we'll say have an old stove day to each other, like just quarterly or whatever.
That's cool. That's so good.
Goofy
That's
stuff
epic.
like that.
Because
That's
y'all have a
epic.
big team now.
We
If
do.
I'm thinking about it, like y'all have the Pike Place, and that is a whole monster.
Yeah.
You have this location, which is doing its own thing, and then you have Ballard. So, like, that's a big team. So how do y'all? I think sometimes we like to. I mean, we don't get to talk about it all the time, but how do y'all manage making sure people have balance, or making sure that? I mean, it sounds like it's very much in the core, but are there specific things that y'all do to make sure as a team that y'all are on the same page and that people are getting the things that they need on their personal side as well outside of work?
Totally. Yeah, that's a core piece. I mean, whenever we interview people, we tend to talk more than the person that we're interviewing, because I feel very strongly like I want to sell this place is a great place to be and a great team. I think we have about 130 employees at this point.
Damn.
So the Pike Place location has about 110 or so,
Right.
and then the other two locations we run so much leaner because we're just not nearly as busy. And
Yeah.
these joints so the Ship Canal location and the Gardens location, we are counter service, like very classic brewery
Right.
style of service. A Pike Place Market, we're a full sit down
Table.
restaurant, right? So we
Right.
have servers, we have cooks, we have the full
Right.
team. I think this past summer, I was looking at the clock, and on like a Saturday, we had 72 employees clocked in
Wow.
at any given time.
Yeah, that's
which
wild.
is insane.
That's insane.
But no, we talk about that all the time as a team. Is how do we take care of our people? How do we take care of our guys? We always say we try and get the schedule out at least a month in advance. We want to make sure that people have time for life outside of work, and that's the priority, right? We encourage people to call out if they're not feeling well. Obviously, Seattle is great with the sick and safe leave ordinances and stuff. So you still get paid if you don't have to come or if you can't come to work, which is amazing. We offer shift meals for everybody. So,
Nice.
no matter what, just come in. If you're working a shift, order whatever you want off the menu. We also, in Washington, you have mandatory rest breaks that you have to take as well, which, the hospitality or the server in me originally was like, oh, I hate this, but now I love it.
Yeah.
I just think it's so important to have your team step off the floor and take a breath. And we just say, hey, why don't you don't need to take 10 minutes, take 20 minutes. Take 20 minutes and eat something and rest. We'll cover your section and then come back on, ready to take this, take it on.
Yeah.
We do a lot of great educational opportunities and stuff. When it slows down during the off season, we go tour other distilleries or breweries or coffee roasters or whatever. I really want people to think about, I want people to continue to expand their education and again, like think about that scale of what is delicious, what's not delicious, what am I, flavor-wise, what am I getting here? Because we all grew up eating different things or drinking different things, or we had different experiences in our childhood that like, oh, this tastes like a slip and slide to me or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like not that our beer does, but
No, yeah.
But he brings back memories to things. Like whenever we're tasting beer, I'm always like, I know what this tastes like, and he's able to like say what I'm thinking sometimes. And so like it is that like it can not only like taste like something, but it can bring a memory back. So not that it tastes like a slip and slide, but it reminds you of going down a slip and slide.
Right. Yeah, totally. And we encourage tasting all the time. I want my team to come in for their shift, and I want them to try a beer, and I want to try the same beer every day for 5 days and see how it changes or how your palate changes or whatever. So, a lot of freedom like that. We do a lot of fun team outings, team picnics, stuff along those lines. We also, and frankly, we just pay people very well. People make a lot of money working for us, and we pay people very well, and so we retain people. A lot of our teammates have been with us for 5+ years, which is amazing in our industry.
Yeah.
There's so much turnover.
Turnover and burnout.
Totally.
Yeah.
And burnout is real at the Pike Place Market location for sure.
sure.
I bet during those especially
busy.
high tourist seasons. Oh, yeah.
Because most restaurants, right, you get a lunch push and you get a dinner push. It is
like
all
full time.
push. As soon as you open, your section fills
push,
up,
push,
and
yeah.
it just stays full until we
Yeah.
close over there, which is an
Yeah.
amazing,
And
place to be.
Y'all
Yeah.
do all of the
brewing over there at Pike Place, correct?
No, so we did. That was where we did all the brewing, which, as you can imagine, as for any brewers that are listening to this, like the nightmare of having to drag hoses across a restaurant that is doing 1,000 covers a day, is brutal. But we do a lot of our brewing over there still, and then the Ballard facility is where we also do a ton of brewing over there too.
So is that like the R&D or like pub system would be the Pike's Place location, and then Ballard does a lot of the production, or no?
The Pike Place location still does a ton of production for us.
Oh, damn, okay.
We've got a great 15-barrel brew system and fermenters over there, so we still do a lot of product over there. And then a ton of brewing goes on over at the Gardens location in Ballard. And then we do still have the facility in Post Alley. And,
gotcha.
And in there we have a cool little 5-barrel system that we can kind of do some more fun R&D stuff. And we're kind of only just getting to the point where we're able to start using that again.
Yeah, 100%.
This time of year, it's all about just trying to keep Pilsner in those tanks and just trying to keep, like those popular beers in the tanks. But up there we're starting to do some more fun esoteric stuff that we'll just do like one-off small batches of.
Very cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Gives us brewers that creative break.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
They're like, I'm tired of Pilsner. I want something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so much cool shit out there now. Like all the, Holy Mountain does such a great job with all their barrel aged stuff. But like you crack a bottle of that Midnight Still and it's like Hershey's syrup. It's so chocolatey and viscous and all that stuff. And so we're like experimenting with 24-hour boil cycles and stuff like that to try and like get some more, you know what I mean? Like we're trying some of that stuff. We actually Yakima Chief Hops just blessed us with a bunch of cool I hop oil and like cryo frozen fresh hops and lupulin powder.
What do you call it? The arms race?
Yeah, arms race and sort of like hop, any sort of hop propriety.
Yeah.
Oils, extracts, powders.
It's so cool.
It gets so nuts now.
Oh, totally.
Now it gets broken down to like gene sequencing for finding certain terpenes, and that's all they isolate, and like they grow and stunt it, and then it stops there, and they just extract.
And someone's like sitting here, they're like, I just want an IPA, and they're like telling them about the hops. They're like, I don't even know what you're saying right now.
Give me a hazy.
Yeah.
No, try this West Coast.
Yeah. But it,
it's just like it's so fun to like hear the like spectrum of all the things of like the different like hops, obviously, but then the different like trying like you have your flagship and then also being able to like test new things out as well. So I'm sure that's really cool for that brew team.
I'm really excited. This is like my favorite time of year. It should be the favorite time of year for us up here, right? Like as beer drinkers, all the fresh hop beers.
I was about to ask, are y'all doing a fresh hop?
Yeah. We have I think we have 3 or 4 of them.
Nice.
Coming out. The first one I think we just put in tanks is a Strata West Coast IPA. Okay. The one we're all the most excited for those. We do a Citra, like a hazy pale.
Hell yeah!
Oh, that sounds amazing.
And it's so good. It won first place at the Fresh Hop Festival last year in Yakima.
Oh, nice.
Which is fun.
I want to go I just want to sit at the Fresh Hop.
It's fun.
Festival.
We should go to the Single Hill Rodeo. That's always a good time.
That is good.
I'll just drink all the fresh hops, please.
Yeah.
Because we missed fresh hop season last year because we were on the East Coast, and there was a fresh hop beer out there, but I was like, and they were like, because they do have hops out there, and I was like, oh yeah,
up in New York and stuff.
But like, it's just different, and so I'm really excited to be back here on the West Coast for the fresh hop season.
You'll be like sick of it in like a week.
No, I won't.
Every tap is
won't.
You'll get allergies. That's how it goes.
Well, I will. I took my allergy medicine. I always get hop allergies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, because you worked at Fort George for a while, and I would drink a beer, and I'd just be like,
immediately.
Some of our hopping rates, and I can say this because they've probably changed them, but for some of our 210 barrel. Like Vortex or Three-Way, it was like over 2,000 pounds of the dry hop. Like it was just nuts. It would like dump the the hop cone when it would settle out, and some of the hops would still be dry on the inside coming out of this like 2.5 inch fucking hose.
Wild.
Yeah,
I forgot that you could get something that wasn't hopped. It was amazing to have some true lager, like a little bit of hop, but like not hop forward. Anyways,
it's fun. That's what we bring every year. We bring our fest beer, and we bring the Citra Hazy Pale Ale, because when we're at the festivals, I don't want to I'm good for a pint of fresh hop or whatever, because I'll try a bunch of little 2-3 ounce pours, and then all I want to drink is just something crispy. And that beer always ends up going first. That keg blows first.
Best beer.
Just wants a palate reset.
Yeah.
And it's all the brewers drinking it too. They go to Old Stove's tent, get the fest beer.
Get the
Yeah.
fest beer. I love
100%.
that so much.
Awesome.
And that's my favorite style of beer. I think is like a good Märzen. I think that might be my all-time favorite.
Märzen.
That was I didn't like the you were talking to me earlier about the craft beer boom. But at that same time, I was fortunate enough to go to Munich, and I got to go to Oktoberfest in Munich.
I'm sure that was so fun.
Which
That's
was
awesome.
incredible. And we went to Eying, and we toured Eyinger, and we went to Polliner and the Augustiner tap room and all that stuff, and just drank like fish.
It's amazing.
It really changed my life. I thought all I wanted was IPAs and stuff, and then I was like, wait a second,
What is
Right.
this?
right?
They've been doing this for hundreds of years.
Yeah, the tradition. I also think the drinking culture too.
It's
I think
so
that is
different.
one thing
I like
you talked about, kind of, how you meet your mom at the pub and you're allowed to like sit, not necessarily like at the bar stool, but like that drinking culture is so different. And I think here on the West Coast it is even more different. It's more party lifestyle. It probably spawned out of like the skate scene, the surf scene, just like how things were over here.
Right.
And like having the German lagers, it's like that's what drinking is about. I mean, you sit with friends, you have laugh, you have food, and you can have 3 or 4, get a good feeling, and then the next morning you're still operable.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not like sometimes. I mean,
Having those IPAs, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, the doubles. Oh.
I think I did 8 liters at Oktoberfest, and I felt great the next morning. It was like one of those scenes out of a movie where like you throw open the curtains
Yeah.
and like
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm here. Let's
The
go
birds
have a
are chirping.
pretzel.
yeah.
totally.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
And there's no like when you're in those tents too, it's just all camaraderie. Everybody's there to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no American machoism or anything like that. Like I just remember bumping into somebody and they were like, "Hey, let me buy you a beer," and they brought me over to their table
Yeah.
and stuff. You hear you bump into somebody and they're just like.
I think that's the
"Let's
cool
talk to
thing
them."
about the long table is you're forced to talk to
Yeah.
people. You can't just sit there on your phone. You're just gonna look like an idiot.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you literally just talk to strangers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
I love it so much. Well, this has been amazing. We have our last 2 questions
Okay.
for you, and then we'll wrap it up. So thank you so much for sharing all about your life and your experience, and then also Old Stove. I'm excited to go check out the Ballard location, too. And
Yeah.
we need to go back and check out the new deck over at Pike Place.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to go do that.
It's worth it. It's like a 20-minute walk from like if you cover the entire thing, and it's totally worth it.
Hell
It's
yeah.
so cool.
Love it. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Honestly, hearing your story, 1, and then 2, hearing Old Stoves, like it's been so cool to hear just the story behind what Old Stove means and what it means not only for the community but for the people who work for y'all as
Yeah,
well.
the
So-
culture it cultivates
Culture is very
is
cool.
amazing.
I love that so much. Love that y'all are expanding. So we have our last 2 questions. First one, if you were to give your younger self, a piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I think something I had to learn, or something I have learned over time, I guess, is meet people where they're at.
Oh, I like that.
I just remember being such like if I had not been as arrogant as I was in my 20s, I maybe it's hard to say, right? I don't really have a whole lot of regrets because I'm pretty happy with. I got an amazing wife, amazing kid. Like I'm very happy with where I'm at. I love my job, I love my team, and all that stuff. But I think back sometimes about how arrogant and brash I was about things and how judgmental I was. I love that Ted Lasso. Be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a good lesson for me is just meet people where they're at and understand that different people are at different points in their lives and are dealing with different things.
Yeah.
I used to get so mad at like some of the other managers at the Tom Douglas group because I felt like they weren't doing the work that I was doing. And then now in retrospect, I'm like, holy shit, I have this 3-year-old, I have this kid, and she dominates all of my life, as she should. That's the most important thing
Yeah.
in the world to me is this little girl. And I'm not sleeping at all still, right? I mean, or barely, right? She
Yeah.
still gets up and all that stuff. And so just being gracious and being kind. And I just have learned, through managing so many teams and such a diverse group of people that sometimes you just got to ask the question, like, what's going on? You okay?
Yeah.
And then make an adjustment. I'll never forget, I had an employee who, they were on their last warning. We were getting ready to fire them, and I finally pulled them aside, and I just was like, "What's going on? Like, what's really going on? Talk with me about this." And they were like, "Oh, I don't sleep. I'm up until 4 or 5 in the morning, and so when I have to get here at 10, it's just tough for me." And I was like, "No problem. Let's fix this." And I moved them to, all PM, all closing shifts, and they thrived, and they became like a bar lead, and just were crushing it and stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Sometimes I have learned. sometimes you do have to fire fast. I'm kind of like the patron saint of lost causes. I want to give you chance after chance, and I just feel like I can help and I can coach and all that stuff. But I have had to learn, especially through having such a tight-knit group at the Pike Place Market location, that in a funny way, you also need to move on quickly in order to make sure that you're not detracting from your star players and from that core crew, right? Which is, it's tough to do because I want to make sure I'm being gracious and thoughtful. And I think you can still do all that, but I think you also just need to go, all right, this isn't working. We operate in a giant tip pool over there, and so you have to work as hard as the person next to you. And if you don't, and you're making the same amount of money, it's just not fair. And so,
especially with a big crew like that.
Totally.
Like if it was a smaller crew, it's a little bit, but with an established larger crew, you have to.
Well,
kind of run
everybody's
with
feeding
that.
each other. When it's a tip pool, it's like if you're all busting ass, you're making the most amount of tips. It's all feeding one another. When people start to dip off and then still get that same reward, it's super easy for everybody to be like, oh, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Or even like, hey, I give a shit. I'm curious. I always think like if you want to be truly great in this industry, in the hospitality industry, you have to be curious. You have to like wonder, why is this delicious? Yeah, right. Like why is this cool? Why is this different? What's the story behind this? Like we were talking about earlier, right? And there are people who are curious and who put in the time to learn and to understand what's in that glass so that they don't have to come back and forth and ask questions, or what's on that plate so they don't have to walk back and forth and ask that questions. Because in our industry, time is money, especially when you're waiting tables, right? So if I have to take 3 minutes to walk away from this table to go ask the chef a question that I should have known already, right? That adds up over time, and at the end of a shift, that's an entire turn of that table, which is $30 into the tip pool or whatever. You know what I mean? And so you have to educate yourself, and you have to get all that knowledge so that you're showing up with the same amount of enthusiasm and vigor as your teammates and all that stuff. And so,
well, I say like good for your experiences that you had. I know you said, because when we ask that question, I think it's always hindsight. Like I wish I had known that, but it's like cool you're here now. That like now in your position you get to teach that and impart that knowledge to your current staff. So good on you. Good on you.
For sure.
I think I need it too. Like I think I am kind of set in my ways sometimes. I like being more curious. I think is always a good thing. I have been. I'm like, I love Ted Lasso. Like I need to. Anyways,
I rewatch it. I rewatch it all the time. Like once a year, I'm like, all right, I need to.
It's that comfort show.
Yeah,
100%.
It's so good.
Totally.
Okay, so we're in September now. This podcast will come out in a few weeks. What are y'all looking forward to as Old Stove? I know y'all have multiple locations and diverse teams. What are y'all really looking forward to for the rest of 2025?
Well, I'm really excited for Fresh Hop Festival, Fresh Hop beers, Oktoberfest beers.
More fest beers always.
More Meritzens. I'm really excited. We do a beer called Ring of Fire, where we take an amber lager and we condition it over 200 pounds of hatch chilies that we grill.
Oh, awesome.
We love hatch chilies.
Right?
Y'all grow them?
We grill them. So we
grill them.
All the brewers, they get together and we
grill some hatch chilies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And they just grill a bunch of hatch chilies. So you get that, you get all the vegetable notes from the chili. You get the spice on the back end, but you also get like a little bit of smoke and char on it.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Super good. So,
and for listeners, it's good vegetal note from chilies, which is like that green bell pepper, like that crunchy green bell pepper is like, yes.
Yeah, that kind of grassy.
When he gets it, he loves it. Yeah.
It's, I am good for like 2 ounces of it. I get enough heartburn as it is. I'm good for like 2-4 ounces. But people go crazy where it's just one of those things that like people show up.
People go crazy over hatch chilies.
Yeah, they do. I know it's a Southern thing. Her growing up, it's hatch chili everything. One of my first times into Texas, we went to a grocery store and I felt like there was like hatch chili soap, hatch chili shampoo, hatch chili socks, and I was like, what the fuck? But it's just like Apple Harvest or Hop Harvest, so it's similar. Okay, I like that. So Fresh Hop, more Meritzens Fest beer, the hatch chili, Ring of Fire.
Are y'all going to be having are y'all going to do any parties here at this location, or
for sure?
What are y'all doing?
Well, so this time of year, in a funny way, like there's no rest for the wicked, right? Like we transition basically straight from summer season, which is where we make our nut at all 3 locations. That's when we're busiest. So the Ballard Gardens location and the Ship Canal location have huge outdoor courtyards. That's the place to be, during the summertime. And then Pike Place Market, obviously, you're in the market, tourist season, cruise ships, plus our patio over there. And so this is our busy time of the season. But you got to make money during the slow season and
Yeah.
off season. So now it's all Christmas, holiday parties, booking parties, private
Nice.
events, banquets, and things like that. And really like going out and trying to get people to come in and still drink beer with us and come into our joints. Well, you know, we were talking earlier. We had that epiphany that we're an event space that sells beer, and so we have to have something on the calendar. If I don't have something on the calendar, we sell $800, $900. If I have something on the calendar, I sell $10,000. And so
Yeah.
it's like, we really have to be crafty marketers. So I'm excited to host some more art shows. I'm excited to host some more football watch parties.
Oh, I'm sure with
you
the
know,
Seahawks, yeah.
totally night markets, things along those lines. So.
Are y'all having a Oktoberfest party here?
This at Ship Canal, we've done Oktoberfest is what we call it.
Oktober?
So we've done that the last couple of years. We're going to take a year off at this location, and we're going to host it over at Ballard.
Okay.
It's our 2-year anniversary over at Ballard.
Oh, nice,
So we're
cool.
gonna
That
host
way you're not splitting the party.
Exactly.
Just bring it to there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing having, you know, so for those of you who are listening, like our Ship Canal location and our Ballard location, we are like a football field away from each other, kind of, but they're two giant facilities, and we're right across from the canal and from a bridge. So, you know, it is kind of a funny balance. We want to make sure we're not cannibalizing sales from one to the other. Like, you know, we're trying to be complementary. So that we have people coming to both our joints. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That's very exciting. Yeah, we're so excited. We're back on the West Coast, excited to experience all the West Coast fall things and all the festivities. So we'll have to check them out.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Totally.
Well, again, appreciate the story and the time. This has been superb. The beer's been superb.
Oh my gosh.
Environment's been superb.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to go back to Pike Place and then over to Ballard too.
Yeah, us
Yeah.
too.
Check
We're
those out.
excited to have y'all. And, you know, the other thing too, the last thing I'll end on that I'm excited about too, and if I could give advice to some other companies out there, you know, I've talked a lot about team and taking care of your team. So the other thing that we do is every year we do what we call mission chats, which is where we ended up coming up with that cold beer, warm hospitality. And so we sit down with all of our employees one-on-one. We have a conversation about how their year went, what they want to do, where they want to go, what their goals are, their aspirations. It's very intentional. We give a forum for people, and it's two-way feedback. So we want to know how we can improve, how we can be better, how Old Stove can be better, what they want for our brand and our company and all that stuff. And we have a really intentional two-way feedback conversation that is just the best. And we learn so much about what we need to improve or change, or how our employees see our company. And, you know, I really can't stress enough. You got to take care of your team, give your people a platform, take care of your people, listen to them, right? And good things will happen and fall into place for sure.
I love that.
I think it is cool to give that platform to them as well, instead of just like expecting them to just kind of do it. Like providing that is, I think, a huge step to being
not
open.
having such a disconnect between just like owners, managers, and employees.
Open door policy type of thing.
Yeah.
where it's
Totally.
like, we want to hear it.
And that's there. That open door policy is always there. And you know, we want to have feedback in the moment and all that stuff. But again, meeting people where they're at. Not everybody operates with the
like
ability
that.
to just
Yeah.
riff off the cuff, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to give people time to sit down and think about it and be intentional with the dialogue. And
Yeah.
it's so rewarding, and you get so much out of it. And I think you're able to then build a more robust company, and you're able to set new goals. And you know, some of the feedback we get is we need more educational opportunities. Okay, now we're going to go tour these distilleries or whatever. We want to do more charitable giving. All right, cool. Let's throw the challenge back at you. What are you going to come back with? What do you want to do this to? Okay. We just did a great fundraiser with Planned Parenthood. We did a great fundraiser with, like I said, Miriam's Kitchen. We just did a great fundraiser with the Lapidary Rights Project, which is a great organization. So, and all that stuff is employee driven, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is out. Hey, I want you to come back to me with, like, I hear you. You want to do more community engagement, so come back to me. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
How can I support you with this and all that stuff? You know, so,
And there's so much here in the area to do.
for sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
I love that so much.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so inspiring.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking
do
in
I
my
need
head,
it?
I'm like, how do I apply this?
I'm like, do I
out
need to
there?
switch my job? Do we need to get jobs here?
Come on.
Yeah,
No,
love
what a treat. I love getting to sit down and chat with y'all and to catch up, and I'm so excited to listen to this and listen to more podcast episodes, and I'm so honored that you all chose us to sit down and chat with. It's a pleasure. It's a privilege.
Thank you, Mike.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Cheers, friends.
Cheers.